and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am. Hello there once again, beloved Ascension pioneers, and welcome to this video with me, which is a continuation of my multidimensional mastery. You can get the free course here on YouTube. It's a few videos back, as well as the previous video. This video is also a light energetics, an exercise that's a continuation of the previous video where I spoke about the essences and archetypes and storylines within divine union. So how can they assist us for fully unifying? So in this part, in this segment, I wish to continue that on the note of how do we do that in the partnership with another, and in our continuous path as the divine masculine and feminine essences of creation meeting through the archetypes and storylines that we play out here as human beings, because that's in a way our assignment. So first I want to say that the path of devotion to union with another is a continuation of the union with the self. So we were just reading in the books from Osho that, you know, when you are naturally loving, you don't ask for love, you don't try for love, you don't try to be more loving. You're just, in essence, you are a loving being, you are love activated, you're love present in human body, in human form. When another is not there yet, they can't offer this to you because they haven't yet found the source and the spark within. So often as humans, we wish for others to love us that way when it's not for them to do that. It's not their job. So in truth, the path of union with the self, and as a continuation, devotion to the sacred marriage, the sacred union with another, or many others as many unions, the partial unions within your greater self union, takes you in a journey of simply devoting to that yes or no. So it's choice. What that means is that on your journey, you can always choose to have that develop just within you, or you can use that as a deepening with another, which is a tantric path within two beloveds. But first, they need to come within their own inner source. So that's why I talk about union so much, especially because we're now still in Scorpio sun, and Scorpio is all about that dedication to union. It goes deep. And the deeper we go, the more unified we are. That's just how it is in our universal flow, okay? So when we devote our time and effort to the path with another, we first have to unify within to the degree that we are simply love. When we're not yet fully love, we're constantly going to have partnerships that will reflect that shadow self and the mirroring and the parts of us that we're not yet owning. And that's a path of the healing as well. And this is what I call the soulmate path, or part that we're play-taking and playwriting with. And that's a path, that's a part of that path, the deeper path to union. The deeper we go, then the more we will have that desire to unify to the level with greater depth and intensity. That means that you are so profound and your cup runneth over in a way that now you're willing to share that commitment with another, which means that you will have enough light of the devotion and enough light present within you that you can share that light. It's not about becoming more whole or holy with another or through another. That's actually not what union means. A sacred union is about sharing that and creating the merge of the two aspects that are already whole within themselves, onto themselves. And for many beings, that's hard to even comprehend until they first fully merge with their own inner union. The other aspect I want to say about here is to give a little presentation before we move into the shifting timelines, which will be our today's exercise. Is that aspect that we call, how do I call it? That inner merge, when we say we're merged with our inner counterparts, the feminine, masculine, the yin and yang within, and what we call our physical counterpart, because a lot of times people ask me or write to me these emails about their physical counterparts. And they call them their twin flames or their true love or their soulmates, and maybe something goes wrong, or, you know, there's just aspects or what people perceive having hardships or challenges within those partial unions. The only union that is a holy union is when you're truly first unified within. And why I call these unions partial unions is because most of these individuals, they're not yet fully unified within, and they're using these partial unions as gateways, as stepping stones, as, you know, climbing up that ladder of love towards that self-unification journey. So when there's roadblocks, challengers, we're asked to go deeper into that self-love mastery and bringing more of that divine love into our own incarnation and presence. So when we talk about the human counterparts, like we say someone is my counterpart, it's always a choice. It's always a chosen counterpart, which is not the same as your counterpart within. That's always your counterpart. So first, before addressing another, which is what humans still like to do, is I have this issue or challenge with another and they're my counterpart, so I need to make it about them. We need to make this work, or how do we do that? Before that, you always have to turn that love back within. So watch the previous video, which gives you the depth and emphasis on this, because this one is a continuation. How can you do that with the sacred other? But first, reflecting within, seeing that perhaps maybe there's aspects of you that are not yet fully owned and unified, and then there's this great well of divine love that wants to deepen within you first. So the counterpart within you, your feminine sacred and masculine sacred selves, are that which needs to be honored and owned first. So when you say someone is my counterpart, realize that they're your chosen counterpart at this time. What I witness many people talking about or sharing about is this person is my match, or they're my twin flame, and that's the only person I see for my reality now or ever. It's okay. That's your current truth. And you know, you're probably going to be guided to honor that truth. But the moment you're going to see it as the only possibility, the only probability, you're not again multidimensional. You're not tapping into your multidimensional self-awareness, which is open, vast field, through which I always say that within my perspective, which is the perspective of the vastness of our cosmic beloved self, is that for me, the twin flame is simply an energy dynamics that either takes place within a certain relationship or not. And that's the Vesica Pisces polarity playing out. There's sometimes people who can experience this longer periods of time, and sometimes they have these just momentarily bliss, and they hold on so much to that it has to be related to that person, of course, because that's the way they experienced it with them. And that's naturally so, because through the physical meeting of the feminine and masculine forces in the physical bodies, we tend to experience that most deeply and most intimately. But that intimacy needs to be further developed. It's not a journey that stops. It's a continuation. Our cosmic union is always a journey of expansion and constant continuation. So observe that and notice yourself when you're saying, well, that's the only path for me, or that's the only way I see it. And usually people who do that, they blindfold themselves and the other a lot, or they become obsessive about a certain person, or they make it all about them, which again is not bringing them back to the unification. What we're really doing in the path of divine love and unionship and soul embodiment, what we're doing is, when we're taking that quantum leap, that quantum jump back into the self, we're actually activating more of that quantum field energy. That's basic science plus spiritual fact. So that means we're really merging with the source within, each time on a deeper level. So it's not like, okay, I'm just coming back to what already was there. It's not just about meditation. It's about you vibrating with that quantum field. And it spreads out, because the more awakened you are, the more you have the power to ignite that light within yourself and throughout the world. So that means that in the unionship, when we're tuning into the quantum field, we go straight into the infinity symbol, that middle spot of the infinity symbol. That's we're in the quantum field reality, and we're bringing that into our reality. Then what we're doing as beings of divine love path, we're taking that back again out into the vastness of creation, and we're doing it like this, you know, because the masculine and feminine polarities are always intertwining. So one goes like this, like this. So it's a constant merging state of being. So we shouldn't get scared when we're asked to go deeper, because we're meant to do that on a more quantum unified self level than bringing it back outwardly. Because what we're doing is we're shifting the timelines of the structure of the current creation states. And I know this to be true because my purpose and mission is to be a creation pillar. In creation pillars, we have the knowledge of the secret principles of creation and how this all works. But as humans, having this human counterpart, this body, we have to become aware of how we do that in our flesh. Sometimes it's challenging, but we have the path, we have the roadmap, we have the compass within how to do it. And each time we're breaking more codes, we're cracking the codes open. So when you're tuning into a certain reality that feels more challenging for you, what you're actually asked to do is jump back into more of that quantum, and not stay there, use it as an escapism mechanism of, now I'm just moving into meditation, I'm just moving into my dream world reality, but using it to shift the physical reality. Okay, so that's the basis of today's video. What this second part, which is this exercise I want to present to you, which is basically very simple, has all truth is always simple. When you get back to the level of quantum reality, you realize that everything is about creative imagining. So sometimes we call this the daydreaming, but it's actually creating from the vastness of potentialities. Masters always create, and we choose sovereignly what we create. It's not coming through directions of another. We're not being told what to do or what to shift, and we're just feeling that as we're tapping into our quantum self more and more, and then we're utilizing it to powerhouse more of that in creation. So each time you go back into the quantum, you go out, and each time you create a wider loop. So each time you generate more of the light of creativity and the light of creation, you have more impact in the world at large. So why sometimes these partial unions take place, especially for those of you who are very aware, you're feeling you're shifting timelines within many relationships more than just having one and just having that firm grip and just being about a label or person, and that's all that is about. And having this desire for this specific mission that's so unique and so special just for you, well, all missions are special anyway. So the less the firm this grip is, the more you're free into your sovereign quantum self, and you can actually shift those timelines more and creating it from that divergent into a more unified perspective. So if you're having and noticing more relationships, and sometimes they come and go fast, it's because you're shifting so fast. It's not because there's something wrong with you. I'm not talking about those relationships when you're actually running away and you're trying to find yourself through another person or discovering your light, and then you're just jumping from one person to the next, seeking yourself. No, I'm talking about those of you that are conscious, that whenever you meet a relationship, you always do that consciously. You're checking those dots, right? You're seeing what this is about. You're doing the work. And I speak about this in my soul embodiment course. As always, all my links are down below, especially as well Cosmic Beloved. These are two courses that explain this in great depth and detail. So if you want to master that and you sometimes are wondering where to begin, this is the place. So, okay, let's move on to what I wanted to share for today, which is how to powerhouse through shifting our timelines through unity principles. So let's imagine that there's a potential in a certain relationship, but that potential is not fully realized, or something happens within an energy dynamic. Sometimes people call that someone faces the shadow too much, they run away, someone doesn't want to face reality as it is, they're needing to do the work within. But a lot of times what that causes is when people yet don't own their shadow or don't fully express their feelings, they will do it to the degree that it will be inhumane sometimes to others, or they do actions that are not really within the integrity, what we would perceive as beings of purity. Wow, how is that even possible? Or why was I treated this way? Or it's very disrespectful, or hurts another, because when we do that, we're actually hurting parts that we're not owning within to ourselves. So if a man is being degrading towards a woman, he's actually doing that to his inner female, and vice versa. Okay, so let's say something happens and you can't have contact with that person. It's impossible. They're not communicating with you, or something happens, or maybe someone is deceased already and you still feel there's something there, like almost lurking behind the scenes, and it doesn't let you go. The energy doesn't let you go, and that doesn't mean you haven't done the letting go, you're not aware enough. It simply means there's something more there. And when you are fully fulfilling that potential of what this partial union was all about, before there's a finally interlocking of, and then it pops, I call it the bubble bursting and popping, when it really comes into the field of wide openness again, and especially those of you who've had this feeling of past timeline relationships. It's not really past, it's parallel. But now we know, now we have knowledge. Before we might not have this knowledge. Now so much is coming through the works of, hypnosis, Dolores Cannon, so much about quantum reality, about multidimensional realities is coming out, and we have the knowledge now. Okay, so the thing is that we can use this knowledge, and the reason why I'm sharing this video as sacred teachings is because I know that many of you can do that now. You're capable of doing that, and you have owned enough of yourself to do that. So these are not really past timelines, but they perhaps are timelines of less awareness, when we didn't know what we know now. So now with so much coming up, we have the wisdom to use it. So let's begin at the beginning. So again, I want to turn back to the truth of creation, that everything begins as that sacred envisioning, like the source dreaming itself through the seeds of creation, which we're a part of. And because that is so, we have the creative imagining, that potentiality to shift any timeline we want to. And just because something is not physical probability at this time, or we consider it not to be, and it doesn't seem to be apparent in the physical that this could happen, or there could be union with someone, or there could be unionship, there could be coming together, there can be closeness again, there can be intimacy. And if there's separation still, then what can we do as beings of divine love who have the knowledge and wisdom? What can we do? Well, we have to start tapping into that creative imaginative potential. Okay, so let's say that because everything begins this way, right? It begins as a dream, that you, at the vastness of your infinite creator self probability and possibility and potential, you can use that in your partnerships, first within yourself and then through another. So if that was a union, a partial union, but it didn't come into its full fulfillment, and you feel energy still drawing you there, and you have a feeling, I haven't done the letting go work, I haven't cut the cords, all of that, well, that's not really the essence of what I'm talking about here. If the energy is returning and it's calling you back, it means that you are asked to utilize more of your wisdom. So all these partial unions that are actually taking place within our relationships, and for some of us they're really fast, and each time it's more wow and more, what am I supposed to do here with this? Each time we get more activated, each time we're more multidimensional with that. Again, go back to the free course on multidimensional mastery, which I presented on my YouTube channel for that purpose of greater unification. So now we know, and with each, what we even perceive as challenge sometimes comes a greater blessing, and that will come through your increased ability to create. I know at times it feels like, oh, that's not possible. Yes, it is. That's why you're here. If you're listening to this video, there must be a message in it somehow. And you are becoming aware of how much more power you have in relationships than you think you have. It's not about free will and going against your free will with the another. You're not going against them with what I'm going to share here. You're actually creating a doorway for unity, for union, because we're all existing as individual bubbles of light. And yet we're, because of this uniqueness, yet we're still one, right? But we have to discover how to create those sacred spaces that will always exist as a potential. They're there, and if another is ready, when their bubble gets close enough, when they're feeling ready and activated, this space will already be created. So you're not going against anything, you're simply opening doorways for greater unity, because you can, because you know how. Okay, so imagine this scenario when something happens and you can't communicate something, and a lot of people are calling this, well, someone is running and I am waiting, and I'm just waiting for that person, I'm waiting, and we're not being our creator selves at that time. So we're actually being passive. We're being witnesses to life, which is an aspect of who we are, but we're not just a witness. We're not just an observer. We're also a conscious creator. We have to see the difference between these principles, because they're all principles, not just this or that. They're all principles of our creation self. So when something happens and you would really expect someone to come close to you, but they don't, or you would expect a certain pardoning or communication to take place, but it doesn't. You can make it so. This goes through your quantum imaginative field. You have these resources, and recently I was guided to do that. I can't tell you how powerful it is, because the next morning I woke up like, oh, finally freed from what I sometimes feel through another as well, because as feminine and masculine principles are merging, and now we're doing this work on earth, sometimes it's challenging, and sometimes there is pain coming through, and sometimes there's a feeling of grief and loss and depression, and when another is feeling it, because feminine and masculine forces are not separate, we will feel it as well. Although we might physically not be at that level, we're vibrating with love, we'll still feel it through that empathic self. But this, creating our own timelines within it, will give us more compassionate witness / creator, conscious creator self-awareness. So are you ready? Imagine that something that you perceive as impossible at this time, or you're just, instead of waiting for it to happen, you're saying, well, it'll occur in divine timing, I'm just waiting. You, because you're the aware one, here, you have the knowledge that you can shift timelines, because all timelines begin as creative potentials. Now imagine you and that person just sitting with them, just sitting in presence with them where they are now. But now instead of that, you expand and you open up, and in this quantum field potentiality, you become the infinite child of the universe. You become the dreamer, you become the conscious creator. And daydreaming is not like you are influencing or controlling those thoughts. They're not even thoughts, they're simply impressions that will come to you and through you. as words, images, what you wish to say, communications, whatever you wish for that timeline to be fed with. You're feeding that timeline, you're feeding that potentiality with. Again, because you're doing it through another, you're doing it still for you. Don't forget that Ascension is all about you always doing it for you. The union is you're doing it for you. But the gift is, it's not about, okay, I want to do it for another. I want to help them, I want to heal them. No. But the gift and the paradox is that when you do it for you, you also do it for another and others. Because you allow those sacred spaces of divine love to be birthed. Okay, so what happens is you start daydreaming. What would you like to actually happen on a higher reality? Maybe you're creating a sacred environment where these two beings meet, when you meet with another. Maybe it's a special environment that's very close to you. Maybe it's an environment where you feel really safe. Then how does this person look approaching you in their highest aspect? What do you wish to share with them? What are they sharing with you? Just allow the creative imaging that comes through you, your source self, the witness plus the conscious creator, it's both. Just observe. Express the feelings you're not capable at this time, or someone is not capable, you feel incapable at this time expressing in the physical. But you're feeding this from the timeline-based quantum reality first. And then it will have more potentiality to move and become physical, because nothing just happens. We're the dreamers, we're the creators. Like in the astral planes, when we go and practice this in dream time, have you never had this experience? I'm sure you did. When you became suddenly aware that, wow, I'm creating this dream, and you started utilizing your gifts, you became aware you're flying, or you have this gift invisibility or something, and there was dark forces and what you perceive them to be, and you learn how to navigate through that, and you always manage to be fine. This is what you're doing here, except it's not just about being fine. It's not just about peaceful resolution. It's about bringing divine love within that potentiality. So imagine this playing out. It's like a beautiful storyline playing out. It's like you can lie in your bed, you can daydream it, you can visualize it, you can be out like here in the sun, and just feel that. And then feel the feelings that come with it. And the desire for you to be acknowledged or recognized by someone is actually, if you're waiting for it, if you're passive in it, you're not, again, tapping into your creative ability. So when you do that in this exercise, you're actually doing that as a creator. Even if it's not a physical reality yet, it has the potential to become more of the physical reality than you not doing anything about it. So this is what I was shown recently by Spirit, that it's time for us to utilize the shifting timelines within unity field. And we can do this. You can do this, and you're doing it. A lot of us are doing it within our dream states, but now it's time for us to do it more consciously in this physical space as well. So let's see just how, and how you're guided, and how this sacred imagining spaces unfold. Sometimes you're going to surprise yourself, because again, you're not controlling this. It's almost like watching a movie. And sometimes you're going to say things to another like, wow, I had this feeling. I didn't even know I had this feeling. Or they have something to share like, wow. And at this time, you will witness this higher perspective. And this higher perspective will feed and bleed more through into that timeline. And it's a unified timeline, because if you two, within that communication and expression that you're witnessing through unity, are both sharing within love, then it's always for the greater good. Then it does benefit you and them. And it's not about free will anymore. It's about divine will. Okay, and divine wills are always about sovereignty and self-respect and mutual reciprocity. So perhaps someone would say something and you would finally feel acknowledged by them, and feed into that reality and accept that, and accept their gifts, give your gifts back. Feel the forgiveness, the compassion, the love, feel the communication flow, feel the higher dimensional reality being co-created, because a lot of us work on crystalline levels already, which still not fully physical yet, and we have a lot of resources there, but it's just energy management is not yet fully descended here on Earth. It's a process within the shifting of the Earth's embodiment, as the Earth is now and where she is in her ascension. So what's happening is we're doing more of that work on crystalline levels of unity, and then it slowly starts to be embodied and descended here. And be patient with that process. You're not doing this work of expecting to then have communication and resolution or whatever in the physical. If someone's not ready, you see, this is when you go against the free will. But when you do it on the quantum level, you don't. Okay, so you can shift those timelines within unity. And when you're doing it, like I said, it's for you. So when I did that, I did it as a tryout, because yesterday I was really guided to do that. It left me really speechless in a way. It felt good. I felt appreciated, acknowledged, felt loved. It was a gift to myself from the creative envisioning. Plus, I took the power in my own hands, the power of being a creator self. And when I woke up the next day, I did it before going to bed, I think, yeah. I felt really empowered. I felt beautiful. I felt such an energy dynamic. Again, that Ace of Cup energy with the love really flowing, the cup running over, and really that unity within. So that's an invitation. All my offerings are sacred invitations and sharings. Please understand that they always come from my humble service, the devotion to the light and the truth, and what I call the unity journey of humanity and the divine feminine and masculine forces of creation coming together as well physically, not just, you know, somewhere up there, somewhere in heaven. We get to experience that. No. You know, great masters have always said, heaven can be on earth, and it is. We're just needing enough witnessing and realization that this is so, and making it so part way. That's the part of our journey. Okay, so these offerings, if you are guided, if they do somehow feel beneficial for your ascension journey, please consider making an energy exchange. Go to my donation page or support me on Patreon. The links are all down below. You can also take my courses. That's how you also can reciprocate. I also do sessions. My sessions, people sometimes ask me what they're about. They're about where you are currently through spirit. Everything in every one of my sessions, it always comes through what needs to come through in the moment. So they're about divine timing and perfection and that structure which is needed for you as a physical human being and the journey of union. So that's all available. You have so much love and support. And I'm being really guided and pushed recently to bring those offerings. So if you're being nudged in this direction, consider making those steps towards taking these courses, because they really do present a new kind of reality that most people are still kind of sometimes blinded towards, because it really is about us doing the work of unification on much greater levels than we sometimes imagine it as humans. Okay. One more thing I wish to say is that what I feel goes in alignment with this is Neptune goes now finally direct this weekend. I think it's 19th or 20th. For a lot of you who maybe felt not so inspired lately, Neptune can really, especially for those of us who are tuning into this higher crystalline levels and divine love, this will bring lots of sudden shifts for us as well. There's more messages of love coming through. More of the unions are occurring at this time within. And imagine, always you go a little step further out. Tap into your quantum, expand it further out. That's what we're doing as master timeline shifters in a way. So there's these oracle cards I have about Arcturian guides. They have these different multi-dimensional galactic beings, and one of them I think is a multi-dimensional timeline shifter. I just had a thought about this now. So it reminded me of that we are also these beings, if we want to be. Do you want to be? And a lot of you are, like I said, you're already having that potential and you're doing and using that in your dream time realities. But come on, it's time for us to really become aware how much we can do this on Earth physically as well, consciously, you know, when we're conscious. So yeah, with this Neptune movement forward, you might have this more inspiration again, things flowing. So I really am encouraging you to align yourself with that and know that things are moving forward. Recently there was a huge energy shift, so that's why I was probably guided and nudged to share more than usual, although I'm always very busy creating what I always create. But if you have personal inquiries, you know where to find me. I'm available for these sessions. So take care. I love you all so very much. Use your creative potential, and as always, so much love, wisdom, and power. I'll talk to you soon.